then they will hop on in the middle of it. We're also going to record this presentation. So if you have another college chapter leader that wasn't able to attend and you'd like for them to watch it, we can get that link over to you quickly after the presentation. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to hop into this. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so today's webinar is about leading your virtual college chapter. Many of you attended the webinar that we hosted last Friday, and a lot of the feedback that we got was from our college chapter leaders saying, how do we keep our members engaged during this time when we're not on campus, and how do we even like find new members? And so we wanted to provide some guidance, both one, just like on some of the housekeeping items that we at Ignite need for our college chapters to do, but two, really how you're going to continue to engage your college chapter members. We have a mixture of college chapter leaders and fellows on the call. A lot of our fellows work with our college chapters, and so this will be a good opportunity for y'all to go back and support your college chapter leaders. And for those of you who are college chapter leaders, we're super excited that you're here and hope that this is a really useful time. Today's session is really going to focus on 4 key things. We'll talk through a little bit about Ignite Online. You will understand some key actions that need to be completed by the end of the semester for all college chapter leaders. You'll hear strategies to help maintain your college chapter engagement, and then brainstorm new ideas for engagement. Obviously, these are ideas, the ideas that we share at the beginning are ones that we've come up with as an Ignite team, but y'all are super creative and have been doing this work on your campus, and so I know that you'll have a lot of fantastic ideas, so I'm really looking forward to having that conversation in a few minutes. So in order to kind of orient ourselves with each other, would love to have everybody share the college university that they're attending, the role that you serve in your chapter, and the city that you are currently residing in. I will call, I'm going to see if I can call so that I can get everybody introduced. Okay, and I'm going to go very quickly. So, and I apologize if I say your name incorrectly. I'm going to skip over Ignite staff members because I will introduce them for you. Jocelyn is on the call today. She manages all of our policy work, and she's my co-host for the day, so she may send out some links in the chat box, and you'll see her leading a lot of the webinars. And Kirsten is also on the call, and she is our Director of Communications, and she is fantastic. She's leading a webinar next week as well that we'll plug at the end of this webinar so that you can have more resources for engaging your college chapter. So I'm going to toss it over to An.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm attending a UCLA, and I'm currently the president of Ignite at UCLA, and I'm residing in Garden Grove right now.
Awesome, thank you. Nini, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Nini. I go to University of Washington, Seattle. Our president couldn't make it to the call today, so I'm like the next person. I do all the social media, external affairs, and design for Ignite Seattle, and I am currently in Vancouver, Washington.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. Okay, Christina, we'll hop over to you.
Hey everyone, I'm a sophomore at Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm co-president of our Ignite chapter, and I'm currently in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Beta.
Hi, I'm Veda. I go to Texas A&M University. I'm president of my chapter, and right now I'm in the Woodlands, Texas, which is like 45 minutes north of Houston.
Thank you. Fiona.
Hi everyone, I am the Seattle area Ignite Fellow. I am currently in Washington, and I go to the University of Washington.
Fiona is our Seattle fellow. Fiona, your audio is breaking up a little bit, but thank you so much for introducing and for joining. I see the next person on my list is Stephanie, and I'm not going to have her introduce herself because it is clear to me that she's driving. So Stephanie is our San Antonio fellow, and she is based in San Antonio. Maylene.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm the Chicago fellow and I'm in Chicago.
Thank you. Aya.
Hi, I'm the Denver fellow.
And that's Aya. Alicia.
Hey, I'm Alicia. I'm the New York fellow. I'm in New York, and then I'm going to New York University.
Thank you. Stephanie Crockett. Stephanie Crockett. Oh, I think Stephanie was having some audio issues earlier. She is at our Sam Houston State University here in the Houston area. Lauren.
Hi everyone, I go to Agnes Scott College. I'm the Atlanta fellow and I'm currently in Chicago.
Thank you. And then Anais.
Hello everyone, my name is Anais and I'm the Southern California fellow. It's so great to see so many familiar faces on the call.
Thanks for joining. And then Annie Delgado.
Hi guys, my name's Annie. I go to UC Riverside. I'm currently the president of the chapter of Ignite at my school, and I'm currently residing in Redlands, California.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for quick intros. It's challenging to have webinars when sometimes you haven't met people, and so it's always great to have a little introduction at the very beginning so we can get to know each other before we dive in. So it's a really good mix of fellows and college chapter leaders from a little bit all over the place. So I'm excited to see everybody here. Okay, so we have created, in response to some of the feedback that we got last week, a document that has college chapter guidance. And so you should be getting in the chat box a link to that document. If you, I'm also going to attach it as a document so that you can have it if you don't have access. And that should come through. If you don't have access to the Google Drive for college chapter leaders, then you won't be able to connect to that link that was sent out. But I just dropped the PDF in there so that you have that. And so this document has sort of outlined for you what our guidance is in terms of the ways in which you will guide your college chapters for the rest of the semester. So first on that document is our Ignite Online platform. So when all of this started happening, we decided that we were gonna stop all of our in-person programming, which is everything that we do, but we didn't want to leave y'all sort of in the dust. And so we developed what we're calling Ignite Online, and this is a series of webinars that we will have available to all of you, and those webinars will be posted on this website at ignitenational.org/igniteonline, and it'll be updated on a regular basis. So you'll see some of the activities, things like Ignite the Capital in California and Illinois. Those are advocacy opportunities for people who reside in those states. We have a census training next week, and then all of our regions where we have fellows will start hosting college councils, and those will start happening in April, and the dates and registration info for that will be listed very soon on the website. So first thing first, we definitely want y'all to register for the events and then share all of the events with your members so that they have an opportunity to attend those. And then key college chapter actions. In this document, you have links to a bunch of different things. The first one is your program enrollment forms. At the beginning of this webinar, Jocelyn dropped in a program enrollment link. That is for all college chapters to complete. So if you haven't sent this out to your college chapter members yet, please do so that they can let us know who they are and how they're participating with Ignite. Later on this semester, you will also be completing an evaluation and a sustainability plan with either a fellow, if there's a fellow in your city, or with a regional staff member like myself. And those are an opportunity for you to evaluate the work that's been going on in your chapter over the course of the year, and then create a sustainability plan so that you can get off and running next semester. And then there are two other links, an activity tracker and officer information. The activity tracker is simply an opportunity for you to share with us what activities your chapter did up until now, and then anything that you plan for the remainder of the semester. And then officer info is just that, whoever is on your executive board on your chapter. Before I move forward, I just want to see if anybody has questions. I see things getting dropped in the chat box, but I don't see the chat box. Okay. I'm going to take
me in the chat box.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take silence as no questions. Okay, so this is really the meat of our time. We'll talk through some of the college chapter engagement activities that we've thought of, and then we will also have an opportunity for us to brainstorm as a group additional activities. So when we think about college chapter engagement, specifically in the virtual world, we have broken this down into three big buckets. One is around hosting virtual college chapter meetings, so that you get that sort of in-person but face-to-face activity with your college chapter members. The next is around social media and communications. We'll share some ideas today, but then next week, our communications team will be hosting a webinar that will have an opportunity for you to have like a very clear and robust calendar of ways that you can connect via social media. And then the last one is recruiting new members. In our webinar last Friday, that was a really big question. A lot of people said, you know, I'm just starting my college chapter and I don't have a lot of members. How do I even recruit members at this point? And so we've thought through some ideas, and we want to talk through those with y'all and then get some additional ideas. So in the document, you'll see a host of thoughts that we've had around virtual college chapter meetings. Some of those things are advocacy, like we talked about, we're hosting on Ignite Online, using the college. Oh, somebody might need to put themselves on mute. Using the Ignite curriculum to lead college chapter meetings. If you likely had to create a Zoom account for school if you're in school so that you can start going to classes. You can also host your college chapter meetings on Zoom or Google Hangouts very simply. And then under the social media area, we talked about ideas such as having somebody do an Instagram takeover. Maybe that's a professor that you have, or somebody on the executive board, or even an elected official if you have the opportunity to do that. And then the very last section is around recruiting new members. And so we dropped in some ideas there. But what we really want to focus on during this time as an opportunity for engagement and interactivity is to talk together about what ideas you're excited about, what challenges you envision, and then the ideas that you have for college chapter engagement that are not already listed in this document. So we were going to do breakout sessions, but we're not going to in this group today. We're just going to do this together. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And as a group, we are going to discuss those three questions. And so let me pop them into the chat box so that we have those available. But hopefully at this point, everybody has had an opportunity to look a little bit at the one-pager around college chapter engagement activities. If you have your camera on, can you give me a thumbs up if you've been able to kind of peruse those? Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, so now I'm gonna hand it over to y'all. This is an opportunity for y'all as college chapter leaders and fellows to start talking about activities that you think you can host with your college chapter members. So first question, which college engagement strategies are you most excited to execute on / and or something that you saw on that list that you're like really interested in doing for your college chapter?
I really like the the Instagram takeover. I know that's something that you guys do on the national page that I've really liked. I think it's interesting. I think it would get, because we are a newer chapter, that doesn't necessarily have a lot of in-person members. So I think that's something that people would actually tune in and watch right now, even if they're not a member yet, and it might get them to stay interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess like my club, like we're thinking of like sort of like because everything is online now, so we want to like engage with everyone online because that's like the platform like that the only platform we have. So we're thinking of making kind of like short like Facebook, not like TikTok videos, but sort of like that, like similar to that. Where it's like these short clips, and we're gonna have like basically like these questions about like women in politics, and we're gonna answer them very briefly to try to get people like interested in joining the club. Yeah, that's what we're planning to do.
I love that. That's awesome. What are some of the questions that y'all are going to be asking?
Just like questions like, what do you think like hold women back from running for like office? Like, what resources do you need to run for office as a woman? Like, just sort of questions like that, because we want to like reach an audience of people who are like politically engaged and who want to like basically like join the club one day in order to like pursue like their dreams.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing on.
I think another thing could be like the Instagram story templates. If you've seen them, like you can kind of make what's one issue you care about this election season, or like questions like that, and have people share it on their own story and like fill it in and tag other people, kind of like a challenge combined. Tag other people and then it'll spread around.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome idea. I like that. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's been seeing all of the challenges on Instagram right now, like seeing like people could start doing challenges of like register to vote, or I love the idea of having issues that you care about. That's really fantastic. Other folks?
I just want to give a shout out right now to Christina, who is on this webinar, who is posting about the webinar on Instagram stories. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So for outside of the ideas that we have on this sheet, what are other ideas that you all are thinking about doing with your college chapters, or do you have questions around challenges that you think that currently exist for you that you'd like brainstorming around how to mitigate those challenges or overcome them?
And also, like, how can we help? Like, how can the fellows help? How can staff help? Like, you might have an idea, but then you're like, wait, I don't have all the information, or I might need help with certain things. Like, how can we help during this time?
I hate to be the one to talk again, but Lauren, I'm gonna put you on the spot if you're still here. I hope you are. Since I said I really like the Instagram takeover with the elected officials, if you could suggest any elected officials in the Atlanta area that you think would be up for that, so that we can reach out to them instead of just kind of searching in the dark. Anybody that's more technically savvy or younger that would be able to do that, so we're not, that would make that a lot easier. And then the other thing, I think we brought this up quickly in one of the other webinars, but the Netflix watch party, like if there's something related to Ignite's mission that we can find on there, I think that would be another good thing we could do.
Kirsten, you have a guide for like language that we could share with elected officials around an Instagram takeover that we use for like Young Women Run that we could kind of modify for college chapters?
Definitely. We have standard language for inviting electeds to events, and then some guidance for them for takeovers, how to do it, what questions to ask, suggestions of story tools to make the process more engaging. That's something I'm more than happy to make available. And something that I'm doing for everyone who participates in the webinar next Friday on, let's see, April 3rd, I'm going to open up my calendar for 15-minute kind of consultation brainstorming sessions following that meeting, so we can build on some of these phenomenal ideas that you've had.
That's fantastic. Thank you. What other, oh, go ahead.
I have a question around the voter registration ideas that were on this document. In terms of, I feel like what Ignite does in terms of voter registration is sort of beyond just getting their members registered, is trying to get their people on their campus registered in general. Is there any thoughts around just registering other students that are not Ignite involved virtually?
Yeah, I think that Christina was talking earlier about the like the Instagram templates, but you've seen these like challenges of like see a pup, share a pup, or the like do 10 push-ups or whatever. Like you could also do some sort of challenge like that with your starting with your members and then have them challenge their friends, right? Like I registered to vote and I'm going to tag you to register to vote. I think you could totally capitalize on those challenges that are happening right now. That's one idea, but do other people have ideas?
And I piggyback on what Michelle mentioned. Like, I have never seen so many Instagram stories. it's insane. It's like even my friends who rarely use Instagram now, like all of a sudden everyone is sharing like what do you call those things? Like chain. Like, it's a chain emails, but now it's like chain Instagram. So
I'm just hoping nobody tags me to do push-ups because it's not going to work out very well.
I've seen a lot of people go live also. I feel like maybe that would be something cool to do.
Yeah, absolutely. What type of live stories topics would you think about doing?
I don't know, maybe like a Q&A, or also like, I don't know, maybe like a how-to or something.
Yeah.
Or you could go live, because I know you could go live with like another person.
Yeah.
So we could try doing that. I don't know.
I've seen a lot of musicians doing that. They're like bringing in other musicians to do like duets together.
Also, this is Stephanie. I know you guys didn't hear my voice before.
Because you were driving.
Yes, I just got to work, so. Yes.
We're glad you're here.
Stephanie, I love the idea of going live with 2 people, and I just dropped the link into the chat box from Instagram on how to go live with a friend.
I think too, obviously it's really incredible if you can recruit elected officials to do Instagram takeovers or even do a live with you. I would also I'm going to speak for all of the Ignite staff, but if you ever want to have one of us join y'all for a Q&A, or Jocelyn does policy work, I'm sure she'd be happy to talk about policy or how to advocate for a bill. We talk a lot about the bills that we selected for this year, and people keep saying, well, why isn't Texas on the list? Because our people aren't in session right now, but that doesn't mean that we can't start learning about it and getting prepared for next year. So there's also an idea if you are looking for somebody to do some type of live or Q&A session with, please feel free to utilize us, or if you need suggestions on elected officials or other community members, we're happy to help brainstorm with you.
I guess I also have like a question because like my board, like I'm also graduating too, but like basically half of my board they're leaving, so like we need to like find like replacements for them like in this upcoming quarter, and I'm kind of worried because like since like my whole my school I basically would be online for the whole quarter, like obviously there'll be like some logistical stuff that we have to work out, like how we're going to transfer like bank information over. But like I was wondering, you guys have like any advice on like how to like effectively train like new board members to like fulfill their role, because like I know if like basically like the rest of the quarter it would just be like online advocacy, like sort of like online like platforms, but like a lot of the board won't be there next year in order to help them like transition back into like the normal activities.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that a lot of college chapters are going to be facing this challenge because I know we have a lot of members that are executive board members that are graduating this semester. I think one thing that I would like highly encourage your executive board members is to just put on paper, like, what does their role consist of? And on sort of a regular basis, maybe that's monthly, like what are the tasks that they're doing for like that month, just to give like a high level overview for that. The other thing that I would really encourage is if you are able to figure out who's going to be in that position ahead of time, then you can spend some time doing like a Google Hangout or a Zoom with like current e-board and then the new members to just like have discussion and talk around that. But I think maybe one of the questions that you had, and correct me if I'm wrong, is like, how do you recruit new people to be executive board members, or do you already know who you want to take on those roles?
No, we haven't like started like the application process yet, and that's actually something that I'm concerned about as well.
So I think that the application process and just recruiting people to be in that is going to be challenging, and that's really where we're going to need to leverage social media a ton. So tagging different people. The other thing that we are thinking about a lot is recruiting people to attend events. Your professors at your college, hopefully you have some good relationships with them, but they are likely looking for opportunities for their students. And so I think you can even reach out to your professors and say like, hey, we have this thing going on. We'd love for you to share this information with your students if you don't have access to those email addresses already. So that'd be one suggestion that I would have, but would love to hear what other people's ideas might be. Or if your schools are already doing things. I have to imagine that as we get into this, schools are going to start thinking about ways to build community with each other. So I'm hoping to see that start to come out. But are anybody's schools already doing that? Or do you have other ideas for how you might be able to recruit?
Well, personally at Clark Atlanta, we were really waiting to be officially chartered, which is something that we were going to try to do this semester. And now, since we're not there, I sent an email, didn't get a response, but I sent an email trying to figure out, if it's going to be postponed into the fall or if they're going to do online. But that's really what's been getting in the way of our process, because there's a lot of things that we can't technically do until we're approved. So that's kind of where we are. But we're still going to try to, especially since everything is online now, they can't really regulate that. But yeah, that's just kind of where we are. So I don't really know at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a real challenge, Christina. I think too, I keep thinking about like all of the emails that I've sent that have gone unanswered. People are in a really like weird space right now and trying to figure out how to move all of their work to being virtual, moving locations. I think people just have a lot going on and a lot on their minds, and a lot of people have been on spring break. So I think in the next couple of weeks, people will start catching up on their emails and start like getting back to us. But I would definitely encourage you to be persistent in finding out that information, because it is important information. I know a lot of the like limiting factors for not being an official student org on campus are that you're unable to host in-person events, but we don't have any in-person events, so that does kind of free up those limitations for the purpose of this semester. So I think we can make lemonade out of lemons in that scenario.
All right, I have two questions / thoughts. So one thought around just recruitment is sort of similar along the professor lines. I wonder if, even though professors are having online courses now, you could still do like a quote unquote in-class presentation to get people interested. You could just hop into the first 5 minutes of the Zoom call and give a little talk about Ignite and your chapter. And then I also wonder, since we're not doing in-person programming across the country, if chapters have funding, if there's some like digital programs or something, the Ignite National staff could recommend that chapters invest in right now to make their capacities better, and like use their funding for, you know, what the situation calls for, I guess.
Can you repeat the question, Fiona? You started talking about if there's funding and digital programs, but related to what specifically? Oh, Fiona, I think you're on mute if you're talking. We're gonna wait. We'll see if Fiona can come back and clarify the question. But while we wait for her, does anybody else have ideas on recruitment or other chapter engagement activities that you're thinking of doing, or that you would like to just kind of like toss around the idea and brainstorm ways that it might be able to work?
Yeah, I have an idea I'd like to toss around and get like everyone's opinion on. This is Alicia. So a lot of my chapter members, like you mentioned earlier, everyone's mind is like somewhere else. There's a lot going on. So a lot of them have been experiencing a lot of different hardships. So I was like thinking of like a way to still keep them engaged is to maybe like put together a few resources for them, or like to send out to them. Like I know a lot of them have been laid off. So like maybe different paid internships or like paid opportunities, and then including like the fellowship, like the fellowship, and then like including as well different campus resources, or I don't know, like a food pantry, just something like to give them, still here supporting them, like even be outside of like the Ignite programming, I'm supporting them as individuals. That was like one idea I had.
Yeah. What do y'all think of that? I have idea. I mean, I have thoughts, but I'm not in college, so I don't know how y'all feel right now. So would love to hear y'all's thoughts.
I think that's a really good idea. I really like that, Alicia. I feel like maybe figuring out a way to help students would be really good, just to let them know, you know, like, it doesn't, yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like it too. So like something that like I've been doing personally and like sometimes on the Ignite account was, so I follow a lot of like resources around the area in Seattle in general. So I like to like post those resources for people who like may need it. So, like I feel like from like where we are right now, like this like online standpoint, I feel like we just have to like locate as many resources as we can and post them where we can post them, because like we're not going to know exactly if someone's going through something specific. So like just providing all those resources to like just everyone like would be beneficial.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And how do y'all envision sharing those resources? Is it like, would y'all like, if you were the one consuming those resources, would you want to see it on Instagram? Would you want to see it via email? Like, what are the channels that you would appreciate receiving that information?
I mostly do it on Instagram, like sharing it on Instagram stories, like certain posts. I feel like through email, it can kind of get lost in translation, like especially if you're providing a lot of resources. Like when I'm like flipping through Instagram stories, I don't really stop and like, or not Instagram stories, when I'm looking through my emails, I don't really stop and look at something unless like it's like kind of important to me or looks interesting to me. And then when you like scroll on Instagram, it like has to kind of pop up, and then like it'll usually be like a post or something, so you can read it real quick and like, oh, like food pantry, like maybe that's something like I'm interested in. or something like that. I just think that like it's more readily available. Like some people aren't really getting back to emails like as of now because it's like kind of a weird time, but
yeah,
I feel like everyone's flipping through Instagram right now.
Yeah. As you were saying that, it gave me two ideas. One, what is it called when you have I'm old. What is it called on Instagram when you have like the little circles underneath and you can like save stories or like highlights? Is that a highlight?
Called a highlight, yeah.
Okay, so you could have like a resources highlight where you, because that was the thing, like I was looking at something the other day and it was on an Instagram story, and then I could never find it again, and I really wanted to go back and like have access to it again. So that would be, I would like super suggest if you put it on your story, maybe add it to the highlights. And then the other thing I was thinking about is it would be really cool, and maybe we can do this like as an Ignite national team, it would be really cool to have like a highlight reel of just like elected women officials giving like little like 1 minute tips or tricks or things like that we could have on the Ignite National Instagram. Thanks, Lauren. Any other thoughts or ideas while we're on the call together? I don't want to belabor it, but I know this is an opportunity for everybody to be together, and I don't want you to miss out on a chance to get feedback or brainstorm.
Also, Fiona brought up a really good point because I'm not sure how all colleges work, but I remember from mine when I was in college at UC Berkeley and I was part of Ignite, we received like a certain amount of funding per year, and then if we don't spend it the very next year, they actually reduce our funding, and if we spend it all, they might increase our funding. So that's definitely something to think about. Like, how do you want to spend all your money if your college, works that way? How are you going to spend all your money so that they don't cut your funding the very next year? And there are ways, like I put out a few ideas, and again, it varies from college to college because I'm not sure how all colleges work, but like there are things that you might be able to do. Like for instance, like we at Ignite national level, we're talking about like a book club. So we're thinking of like doing a book club, and you could do that for your chapters where, you could use that money to purchase like some books and then just pass it around or something, and you can mail it to each other so you actually don't have to see each other. And then also Period, it's a nonprofit, it's a national nonprofit. They're doing a menstrual hygiene product drive online, and that's something that, if you are interested in doing, you could do that as well. So that I think, again, it varies from college to college, but I believe that there are ways to spend that money if that's your concern, which is absolutely valid because I know a lot of colleges assign funding through that model.
Yeah. I love that. I love those ideas, Jocelyn. And especially like pad and tampon drives, you could do like a virtual drive and have it donated to a local, a local shelter or to like whatever organization you pick. I think that's great.
Or set up scholarships for your own members.
Yeah.
I like the book club idea. I think it's really cool because, well, a lot of people, like me personally, I just bought books yesterday and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this time to like read something at least. So I feel like that would be a good idea. Yeah. And I like the menstrual drive too. I just don't know how it would work. Like, does Period choose who they give things to and we just help them raise things, or?
I can connect you with Period, but so how they're doing is that like they're giving it to what do you call those, like they're either giving it to homeless shelter or like different nonprofits, and that's, at least that's my understanding, but I'll connect you with them. But that's something that you can also think about, like how do you want to do it for your college chapter? It doesn't have to be the same exact way. You can modify it. Like you could maybe, if you know of any clubs on your campus who work on something, who work in this area, like maybe you could even like partner with that club on campus or something like that, and then give it out to students or families or some, yeah.
I think the scholarship idea too, like just like setting up a funding for like scholarships for members is like a really good way to incentivize people to join too. Like you could advertise it and then like add a wink to something like that, you know, you get scholarships for joining. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but also the other thing about scholarship is that like one of the things that we're thinking about on national level is like mentorship. And, you know, you could do that during this time too. Like you could mentor someone over Zoom, like over Google Hangout. You could check in with that person like once a week, like something like that. And I think it also helps create that sustainability, because when you mentor, I'm thinking like, for instance, like you're a senior, right? Like you can mentor someone who is a freshman or someone who is a sophomore, and then just keep that going. And hopefully, you know, that person will join Ignite, and then hopefully that person will mentor another person. And that way you can make sure that you have like consistent group of people who are, you know, taking over leadership positions.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about as we were sitting here, obviously there's a lot of you that are graduating soon, and I'm assuming also looking for jobs. You could do like some type of hangout or Zoom or something where y'all are like reviewing each other's resumes or practicing interviewing with each other. Things like prepare, even if you don't have a ton of experience, I think that's always a really good opportunity just to like sit and answer questions. You could like set up one-on-ones with each other, or set up one-on-ones to give feedback on resumes. That's always a really helpful thing to do. Okay, I think it sounds like there aren't any additional ideas. So I am super appreciative of all the ideas. Y'all had some really incredible ideas and gave me some ideas too of how to engage people in Texas that aren't with one of my fellows in San Antonio and elsewhere. So I'm excited about diving into this. I would love to hear one takeaway from every person about what it is that you're excited about doing leaving this webinar. What is one like action that you're going to take, or activity that you want to host leaving today's training. So I'm going to start, I'll call your name out, and I'm going to start at the bottom of my screen and work my way up this time. So Jillian, you're on mute. Let me unmute you.
Hi. So I think one thing that I took away is like I've been thinking about how to like engage on social media, and like I've gotten a few really good ideas from this conversation, especially like trying to start up a challenge or like having different highlights from stories, things like that, like just recruiting and engaging in social media in ways that I didn't think about before. So that's something.
Awesome. Thank you. Mary. Mary, I don't know if you're on mute or if you're not talking. I'm going to skip you, but drop it in the chat box. Anais.
So I really like the TikTok idea that Anne brought up. I don't think I would have the courage to do that. But definitely maybe going live with one of the chapters would be really fun as a fellow.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Annie.
I think I'm most excited about having my board do Instagram takeovers and getting some local elected officials to do some Instagram takeovers as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Lauren.
I'm excited to do some challenges on my Instagram page, and then also encouraging my college chapter leaders to do takeovers on their personal pages and post encouraging and motivational posts.
Christina.
I'm really excited to meet with our e-board and then our chapter as a group now. I feel like I do have some actual ideas to talk about now. And maybe we can get some things from some other people because we have a meeting coming up next week. So I just feel more prepared for that so that we're not just dead this whole 5 months.
Fantastic. Thank you. Alicia.
Yeah, so one thing I definitely am gonna take away is like a lot of the feedback regarding the resource guide and like how I would promote that to the chapters and the members. And then the idea of doing an Instagram live with like an elected official or doing like a Q&A, or even like doing a live with some of the chapter leaders or like presidents, and like to aid in recruitment as well. Those are some of the things I'm going to take away.
Thank you. Aya.
So I really like just hearing from college students in general. That way I know what my college students probably think alike too. I mean, I think anything interactive right now is really important. So like, I love the TikTok idea because literally everybody's on TikTok right now. So I don't know that I would do it, but I'm gonna recommend it to them. I think they would be interested in that. And then I'm always into doing stories, so I think I'm just gonna carry that on and motivate them to do the same on their, school ones and their personal ones as well, just to go beyond their members and their chapters.
Awesome. Thank you. Maylene.
I'm just looking forward to checking in with my chapters.
Thank you. Fiona?
I really like the challenge idea, like the Instagram story challenge idea. I think it'd be a really good way to get people to check their voter registration or register to vote or do the census. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I love checking registration is like super important. That's a really great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Stephanie.
I'm looking forward also to getting in contact with my chapters and then seeing what they want to do, because I didn't have a lot of ideas. I feel like I was running dry, but this really helped me. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see like what the rest of the semester will look like.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks. Veda.
So my main thing this semester, we just got a full officers team, so that's kind of something I was preoccupied with. And then same thing with, I think Christina mentioned it, just like getting the chapter like approved by A&M. That's so much like to do with that. And our advisor's like currently super busy with that, so like no one's really answering their emails. But some things that we talked about that I liked was the Instagram story takeovers. I'm pretty sure Barbara reached out to you about doing it for us next week. So yeah, super excited for that. And then my main concern was kind of like training the new officers, because since we literally just picked them like 2 weeks ago, that's kind of something that, instead of training them in their regular duties, it's like, how do we do this in COVID-19 kind of era? But yeah, and I like the virtual drives with period products and everything. But yeah, there was a lot of great ideas. So yeah.
And if you want me to connect with you and your e-board, let me know, and I can help you with that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Nini.
Well, first, I'm just like excited in general because like one of the problems that we had with our chapter was like people had a hard time lining up with like our schedules lining up for people to come to events and like do stuff together. So I feel like now that everything's online, it'll be easier for everyone to check in and like come in. So like I'm excited to like have check-ins with like our group members. I'm also excited about doing like Instagram challenges. I think that would be really fun since everyone's doing them right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the TikTok idea would be really interesting. I just don't know if like a lot of people who we have use TikTok. So like you could always like make TikToks and put them on Instagram and then like have that be a thing too. So yeah, I think that would be really fun.
That's smart. Yeah. And on.
Okay, well, like Christina, like me and my like board members, we're having a meeting next week, so I'm just very excited to like discuss these ideas with them and like basically I kind of like plan what we're gonna do with moving forward. I really like the Instagram takeover idea to like something that might internship is doing, like Young Invincibles, like they do like kind of like, they said they do like a Twitter story basically, like they have like a hashtag that everyone like puts in the post, and like we all like at it in a certain like set of time, like in 1 hour or something, like we would like basically make posts about like a certain issue in order to like bring light to that. So I think like that's like an idea that could be used for like multiple platforms, not just Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And I also feel like maybe this is just true for my club, but we haven't been very active on social media as much like before like COVID-19, because we just did everything in person. I really hope that in the future like we could continue to be active on like social media, because like this is like a really great like platform to engage people. And like this is something I hope that even though like after everything returns to normal, I hope we could still like keep this momentum going on online.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your takeaways. I'm going to throw it over to Kirsten so she can plug next week's webinar for all of you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, listening to all of your ideas, I am so excited about this webinar next week, because you've already started coming up with some great ideas, and we can flesh those out a little bit further. So what makes it different than just a brainstorm about ideas? We're going to be using a technique to really take into account the very unusual and stressful times we're living in right now, so that these ideas that we come up with not only meet our college chapter needs, but are appropriate for what people are feeling and thinking and processing right now. So I am so excited about it. For everyone that participates in the session, I am going to be doing 15-minute one-on-one consulting sessions, and also giving out a great calendar tool to, once you have these amazing ideas, to map out when you're going to share them. But you're all super creative. The link is in the chat box. I'll be posting it on social and emailing it out as well. But thank you again so much. It's gonna be a really fun conversation.
I'm excited about that one, Kirsten. Okay, and then very lastly, before we close out, we have a link to a survey so that you can provide us feedback both on today's session and also on sessions that you'd like to see in the future. There, on the feedback survey, there are like some topics you can select, or you can put like, you can type in an other. So if you don't see something on there that's like super interesting to you, but you do have an idea of a national session that you'd like for us to lead, please drop that in the feedback so that we can make sure that we start to provide those types of opportunities for you. If you do have any questions after today's call, or if you just want to thought partner or brainstorm with somebody, I am always happy to set up a call with you. You can email me at michelle@ignitenational.org. And I will hop on a Google Hangout with you, and we will tackle the world together. So I'm really thankful that you all joined us today, and I hope it was a good use of your time. In addition to the communications webinar next week, we also have a census webinar on April the 1st, and that'll be with Jocelyn, and I hope that you're able to attend that one as well. So if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.